Oh, God. Hi, my name is Ines, and this is my channel where I talk about my own self-healing journey so that I can help others however I can, and to show you guys that self-therapy is doable. Okay, I'm a little nervous. Today's episode, this one is a little bit more for me, because it's like the first time I'm actually talking about it publicly, but trigger warning, we are going to be talking about suicide awareness. And yes, so if you yourself or anyone you know is struggling, just know that in that darkness is light. You just gotta wait for it or find it. It's hard, but I'm hoping maybe if I talk about me and my healing journey, it will help some of you. My friend Mikey, he meant a lot to me. He was the one that kind of called me out on my suicidal ideation. I moved to Toronto. I basically ran away from my feelings. I didn't know what they were, and I didn't want to deal with them. And I thought at 19 years old back then, I thought that if you hold your feelings down and suppress them, that they go away. But the truth is if you suppress your emotions, they just keep pounding louder to the point where, and I was very good at hiding my emotions and my feelings. I was very good at blocking them out. I was very good at keeping them down. And they started to eat alive at me to the point where I just didn't want to exist anymore. I didn't want to continue existing in this pain. And I had no idea. I didn't even want to feel happy. And a lot of this does stem from childhood traumas that I never dealt with. So I guess to kind of start off this round, I'm going to talk about the PTSD. Okay, the PTSD for me, I am a war child. One of the reasons why I wanted to start this YouTube was because when I was trying to deal with my past inner child trauma and the PTSD stuff that was coming up, I did not have like any resources. There is nothing out there for children and adults who've lived through a war. There's stuff for soldiers and the families of soldiers, but for the actual civilians, there's nothing. Which to me is like, you really don't want us to speak for obvious reasons, but I'm speaking. For anybody out there who struggled with any sort of war, whether it's within the family, in a big way, in your community, oppression all over the world, oppression in your neighborhood, I'm here, I'm with you. I feel it. It sucks, but we're gonna show up now. The groups that I felt closest to were the Indigenous and Black communities in my area. A lot of the immigrants as well. I'm white, I know, I get it. But growing up, I didn't always feel white. I was like one of the fresh off the boat brown kids. And whenever I told people, oh yeah, I'm an immigrant too, I just moved here 5-10 years ago. What? But you're white, what do you mean? And then I'd start telling them my story and they're like, no, that never happened. Like they don't believe me. And it's crazy because there are so many people just like me. And in a way, we're all hurting. We all have those suppressed emotions. We don't know what to do with them. Like part of us are angry, part of us just want to move on. All of us are still confused, but I think at this point, we all just want a better life. So I am Bosnian and Serbian. I moved to Canada December 1996, and The war started in 1992. I remember all of it. I remember them moving around. I remember the day it started. I remember the air in the room. We were in the living room / kitchen, open concept. And my dad was at the table eating, and my mom was pacing around him. I could tell she was worried, she was freaking out. And I remember my parents freaking out, like they didn't know what to do, they didn't know what was gonna happen. And I remember looking out the window, and I remember the army tanks coming through. And that's kind of the moment that I'll always remember as the moment that I'm gonna cry. It's the moment that stole my childhood away. And from that moment on, I'll never get that back. So with having my daughter, I'm gonna cry. Okay, I'm gonna have to edit the crying bits out, I'm sorry. Okay, we're okay. Surprise. I'm just kidding. Okay. Yes, but earlier last year, when my daughter really started moving around, she had just turned 2. She's turning 3 in just a couple of weeks, but when she was moving around more and starting to play more, she wasn't that baby anymore, she was really a kid, a toddler, it made me realize how much I had missed out on my childhood, to the point where I almost resented my daughter for having a better chance than me. And that kind of makes me feel like shit. So instead of taking this anger out on my daughter, I'm just gonna use it to channel it and really show the world for what it is. When I moved to Canada, I feel like people thought what a horrible place you come from. But what they don't understand, that it happens fast. Like my parents didn't know what the hell was happening. I don't even know how it started. And the story that you'll get from all Yugoslavians is that one day your neighbors were your best friends, people you could count on, and the next day they were all trying to kill each other. And that's scary. For something to switch in your brain like that easy? What was that? Like, that's scary. And people don't understand how fast it can happen. So before I continue dragging on, I think my experience with war is just anger. And I'm angry that it's still happening everywhere and nobody's taking responsibility. What makes me angry is that we have these leaders that are supposed to make sure that we have basic human rights covered, yet they take those away and they bribe us with them. They literally say, in order for you to exist, you have to contribute to society, otherwise you are deemed unworthy.